Մենք շարունակում ենք հարցազրույցների շարքը, ապագա հայկական նախաձեռնության երրորդյա համաժողովի երկրորդ օրն է ընթանում եւ մենք շարունակում ենք մեր զրույցը, այս անգամ կխոսենք Հրայր եւ Աննա Hovnanian հիմնադրամի նախագահ Edele Hovnanian-ի հետ. First of all, let me ask you, what are your impressions? Because this is some sort of the zip version of all Armenians.
Yes. I was attracted to come because I usually don't come to these things, but I was attracted first because Rupen and Nubar are people that I respect and I talk to, I consider them friends. And it was a unique, unique structure, meaning it wasn't thousands of people just talking about what they did, but trying to break it down into topics that, that we can analyze at a deeper level. And to bring in diasporans and locals who have very different perspectives, so that when we talk about a topic, it doesn't, you know, it's not just only people from the very top or people from the very, it's a nice mix. And so for us, for me, it's interesting. My goal was to see if it's possible for Armenians to reach conclusions. We like to talk, but we don't, and we like to talk about what are the problems, but then we don't talk about the solutions. And for me, the solutions are so great that I like to break them down into smaller pieces so that I can envision helping them be realized. And so it's a challenge. It's very interesting. So when they say, you know, we must bring the diaspora and Hayastan together, you know, and unify us, I said absolutely impossible. It's real. We can't even unify in the United States. The diaspora is, you know,
we're very diverse people
very
all
diverse,
around.
you know. So I say we will never be united, but we should be able to have a way to communicate so we know what we're all doing. And on an informal level, I talk to Rupen, I talk to James Stefankian, I talk to AGBU, and in a very informal way, I want to make sure that they know what I'm doing, I know what they're doing, so that there's a little bit of informal but yet coordination. But the problems that, like for now, my big priority is repatriation. But the problems, first the problem is to get them here, but then I have to, what about jobs? What about affordable housing? What about good schools? So the problems,
cultural misconnections.
No, if that is not as big of an issue, now Armenia has become a lot more diversified. There's not a lot of Spirk here, but there's enough that you feel after the Syrians and Lebanese came, there is it's less Soviet Armenian, it's at least there's layers here. So I'm not worried about that. That's a very soft problem, but the hard problems are so large that without working with the government, which I usually don't do, but without working with the government, these problems are not solvable.
So civil society cannot problem these fundamental problems. We need government.
Yes, yes. So, you know, I mean, I'm doing a project now to irrigate the entire region of Tavuch, which is like 25,000 hectares. And for that, I knew I had to work with the government. And so we're working together and co-financing it so that we can, you know, deal with it. But infrastructure, buildings are easy. Changing the educational system, changing the healthcare system, changing, you know, the job market, those are big challenges. And I like to solve problems, but sometimes in Armenia the problems are so large, and they're not problems you can just solve with money. So if they were just money, it would be easy. But
so we are talking about our diversity and what we can in general learn from Americans, from American culture. It's that we can make diversity work for us, not against us. So is it possible to do something like that for Armenians? Well,
you know, for me the challenge is, because we have a lot of staff in our programs here, my focus, I don't mind the diversity except when we work together. The problem is as an American, the people here are not comfortable with certain things that are very natural to us in America for workers. Time management is absolutely, from your very first job in America, you learn about deadlines and priorities. So we find that those are issues that we need to train every single person. And also critical analysis. In America, we're very comfortable talking to our boss about what we did wrong and how to fix it. And it's so for me, the challenges come that diasporans need to be prepared to understand that there are certain things that they just can't just say, well, okay, mezi besche, chen haskanan mezi, betke sorvitsines, you know, that you have to adapt. And so, you know, you have to communicate. And so for us, just very important to be able to stop the diaspora from just using the excuse for darpereng as a for bajare for you know medzrakirchinem. So we have to. My job and James's job and Rupen's job and Nubar's job is to take the time to say yes, they are different as Armenians, as workers, okay, whatever. And find a way to find that compromise. And what are the things that we can share that we learned in our foreign country and bring it here instead of just expecting that they will learn it naturally.
Sure.
You know, so there's still a little bit of the post-Soviet way of thinking. It's changing. It is absolutely changing, but it's one person at a time has to just focus on making those changes.
And last question, can we define the scope of right and healthy interconnection between diaspora and Armenia? I mean, how can we work together? What is Armenia for diaspora?
I don't know if we'll ever be able to work together on a large scale, but at least we need to learn, we need to create. And these are simple. We need to create vehicles where we're communicating. And I told an example today where I bumped into Mary Papazian, a very well-respected educator, a dear friend in America, and she's working on a program to bring Armenian experts worldwide to create a network. Fascinating program. If I hadn't met her, I wouldn't know about it. There's so many Armenians throughout the world working on interesting programs, and not just the programs. New independence, we're building buildings, Abranka Gapajnain, those were simple. Now Armenians in the diaspora are taking on greater challenges. And creating this worldwide network of experts is very interesting. But how is it that someone like me, who's involved in Armenian things all the time, didn't know about it? So the first thing is, before we even can think about working together, is how do we at least create the communication network so we all know what we're doing? I mean, right now, unless I pick up the phone and talk to the AGBU, I don't know what region and what projects they're doing in Hayastan.
No.
There's no easy way for us to figure that out. So sometimes we step on each other's toes. Sometimes, you know, we do too much in one area and then we ignore another topic in Armenia. So at least, and I think that that's something that the government and the diaspora needs to work together to create at least the network for to be able to communicate, so we know what we're doing. Maybe after that, then we can create collaborations and partnerships.
So this is the first step.
Yes, I think the first step is at least we don't even know.
Yeah.
And also Armenians here and in Diaspora are very suspicious. You know, badrastենք թակավորը լանք, բայց, you know, միասին աշխատենք մի քիչ դժվար է. So it's difficult. So for me, I know we want to solve all the problems, and some of the questions today are very big. I mean, just the topic of Eastern Armenian versus Western Armenian is huge. I choose to do all my programs in Eastern Armenian, որ Հայաստանը այդ է մեր լեզուն. Բայց շատ սպյուրքահայերը չայնացած են, որ ես մորցա մեր բադմագան, իրենց համար բադմագան հայերենը արևմտյան հայերեն է. So there's problems we'll never be able to solve, and I'm okay with that.
Thank you very much for
Absolutely.
interesting talks. Thank you.
Thank you.